You're missing out on long-haul flights for barely $100, lie-flat business class seats, luxury hotels, and even free flights, all hidden in your Chase account. While most people pay thousands for these experiences, with the right strategies, you can book them for a fraction in cash and points. In this video, we'll break down 6 of the best ways to redeem Chase Ultimate Reward points with real examples from my own travels, and get 2, 3, even 5 times or more in value compared to cashback or even gift cards, which I definitely don't recommend. You see, Chase points have always been popular given how flexible they are. But now that the easiest way to get elevated value from your Chase points, getting 1.25 or 1.5 cents per point through the Chase travel portal, is going away, do Chase points just fall off a cliff? Well, not exactly. In its place is a new program called Points Boost, which in some cases can be even better, and depending on how you travel, can really be worth considering. With the Sapphire Reserve, you'll get up to 2 cents per point on the Edit hotels and other top booked hotels and airlines, and with the Sapphire Preferred, you'll get up to 1.5 cents per point on those same hotels and flights, with up to 1.75 cents per point on premium cabins. Looking at those numbers, it's a lot higher than what we had before if the travel you're booking qualifies. For example, if you tend to book premium flights anyways, consistently getting 2 cents per point in value without having to fight for award availability is a big win. The catch is, based on the searches I've done, it really is just the more premium flights, anything with economy plus refundable and upwards through business and first. That said, when it comes to hotels, things get a bit more interesting, because I've seen cases where you get more value than what Chase advertises. Hear me out. First, looking through cities like in Seattle, I'm seeing even the more basic and mid-tier hotels qualify for Points Boost, not just the top-end ones. And second, in some cases, it's even quoting 1.75 cents per point in value. If we go back to Chase's marketing with the Sapphire Preferred, I'm only supposed to get up to 1.5 cents per point, and that's with the top booked hotels. The same pattern shows in other cities as well, like in New York, where the rate is again higher than what Chase advertises. Now, one thing to keep in mind though with Points Boost, or really any travel portal, is that you should always be cross-checking the prices with other sites to make sure the price is fair. Sometimes there are discrepancies. You don't want to be burning your points on a redemption that looks good on paper when you could actually be paying a fraction in cash elsewhere. To be honest though, personally, this is not how I redeem most of my Chase points, but I know many people do, so it's worth mentioning. And knowing this now, if I really needed a specific flight and the price was the same compared to other sites, then I would definitely consider getting 2 cents per point in value through this portal. Or if you already lean towards premium travel and you really don't want to deal with searching and finding award space with transfer partners, Points Boost is an excellent way to get that elevated value without the complexity. But to really get that extreme upside, 2, 3, even 5 cents or more in value, then transfer partners is still where Chase really shines. And out of the partners when it comes to hotels, there's no better partner than Hyatt. That's because Hyatt is the hotel chain that most consistently provides elevated value without being impossible to book, regularly showing 2 cents or more in value even on mid-tier properties in popular cities. And when you book with points, you're also avoiding those extra fees you would have to pay in cash, making your redemption stretch that much further. Take a stay I've booked in Honolulu, for example. I redeemed 24,000 Hyatt points or 12,000 points per night instead of paying $672, leading me to a value of 2.8 cents per point. And that's before factoring in the waived destination fee, which is per day, that has to be included as part of the stay. Now, these Hyatt redemptions scale way up too. Take the Park Hyatt in New York, regularly going north of $1,000 per night, but can be had for 35,000 points, getting you around that 3 cents per point in value. I'm also heading to Milan next year and have heard a lot about the Park Hyatt in Milan, which can be almost $2,000 per night or 45,000 50,000 points, a redemption value of 4.4 cents per point, but honestly, even looking at it that way, yikes, this hotel is really expensive. But speaking of these redemptions, at least Hyatt has an award chart that isn't entirely dynamic, so you know the rough range of points you would have to pay depending on the property. And here's a bonus. If you have the Sapphire Reserve card, starting middle of next year, if you're a top spender north of $75,000 per year, then you would also unlock Highest Explorer status, giving you possible upgrades, late checkout, and a few more perks. So whether you're going for a budget-friendly stay or you want to splurge for a high-end flagship, Hyatt is still just that partner where you can reliably get elevated value from. Alright, now when it comes to flights, one of my all-time favorite partners has got to be Aeroplan. Because while Aeroplan is technically Air Canada's loyalty program, you can book across their Star Alliance network of airlines, with amazing ones like ANA, Singapore Airlines, EVA, United, and more. Not only that, but the reason I keep going back to Aeroplan, which is where probably 80% of all lifetime redemptions have gone through, is their solid distance-based award chart for most airlines that is actually competitive. And that's especially true when they typically charge taxes and fees of $100 or less, when a lot of competitors go $200-$300 or more. For example, a sweet spot like flying from the Pacific Northwest to Japan in business class for 55,000 points, a route I've flown in the past with multiple people on the same flight, or to most of Asia for 75,000 or 87,500 points, all really strong options that will net you 3 to 4 cents per point. In fact, I just got back from a trip that included flying from Seattle to Singapore using Aeroplan, which itself is already a great deal, but I also took advantage of Aeroplan's stopover rule, which is a major tip here, where you can add an extra stopover, therefore an extra flight, for just 5,000 points. That could mean, like what I did, adding a 4 to 5 hour business class flight on EVA Airlines from Singapore to Taipei for just 5,000 more points. Aeroplan is also not just premium long haul either. You could get some good value flying domestic short haul as well, like during popular times flying Vancouver to San Francisco for about $350, taking the round trip divided by 2, but can also be had for 8,600 points plus fees, but even then, you're still getting around 3 cents per point. It's not always going to be that high, but the value and options are there. To put that into perspective, applying for and hitting the welcome bonuses of both Chase Freedom cards will net you around 40,000 points, which is enough for multiple of these trips. Hit that welcome bonus and then spend a bit, and you're well on your way to getting business class across the Pacific. So whether you're flying a lot of domestic or planning that premium long haul, Aeroplan continues to be one of the most versatile and valuable partners out there. And while yes, Aeroplan has been my go-to partner for years now, I'm more and more warming up to Flying Blue, especially with some creative sweet spots and tips I've got to share. Flying Blue is the loyalty program of Air France and KLM, and just like Aeroplan, they have their own network of airlines, which is SkyTeam here, giving you access to Delta, Korean Air, China Airlines, and others. And while their pricing isn't as transparent as Aeroplan's, they still offer some of the best redemption rates out there. For example, Flying Blue releases sets of promo rewards every now and then that can have you flying from the US, even from the West Coast, all the way to Europe for just 18,750 miles and about 100 in taxes and fees, spanning cities like Seattle, Chicago, Las Vegas, Austin, and more. To put that into perspective, just one no annual fee Chase Freedom Cards welcome bonus is more than enough to cover those miles, with you just paying those taxes and fees. But Flying Blue doesn't just stop there. They now offer one of the best stopover policies in any airline program. With fairly loose restrictions, you can book a free stopover on one-way awards, again for free. Now heads up, you do have to call to book this, and not all agents know about it, so make sure to verify that they know about the free stopover rule before you waste your time. Just hang up and call again. Trust me, I learned the hard way. I used this exact tactic booking my trip to Europe next year, redeeming just 60,000 Flying Blue miles, flying Air France from Vancouver to Paris, using Paris as the stopover city, and then onwards to Milan, all for the same 60,000 miles. It's another city with another flight in business class for no extra cost. It's that powerful. What's more is that Flying Blue isn't stingy when it comes to their award space, both when it comes to multiple dates that I've searched and having multiple seats on the same flight, sometimes seeing 3, 5, or even more per flight, which is amazing if you travel in groups a lot, which I do. I've done this myself, booking from Vancouver to Taipei on China Airlines for 4 people for 60,000 miles each. Oh, and they'll even hold your award ticket for up to 72 hours if you call in, giving you that time to confirm with the rest of the group or transfer your points. And compared to Aeroplan, Flying Blue is actually even easier to earn points on and top off, since it transfers from pretty much every flexible points ecosystem out there, with Chase, Capital One, American Express, Citi, Bilt, you name it. Between the low economy rates, the generous stopover policy, great availability when it comes to both dates and number of seats, the ability to hold on to award space up to 72 hours, and pool points from so many places, Flying Blue has quickly grown into one of my favorites and still underrated Chase transfer partners. Alright, next we got Virgin Atlantic's Flying Club, another powerful Chase transfer partner that unlocks one of the best redemptions in the entire points game. While Virgin Atlantic is part of SkyTeam, giving you access to the same partners that Flying Blue has, they also have unique partnerships with individual airlines, where ANA is a major standout. This is one of the most sought after sweet spots, which means extremely limited availability and needing a lot of luck. And that's ANA's first and business class seats flying from the US over to Japan for just 72,500 points in first and 52,500 points in business class. Depending on the route and aircraft, these can be some of the best seats in the sky, with beautiful hard products and service looking like this and this. And yes, while cash prices can be around 5,000 for business or over 10,000 for first, most of us would never pay that price. But just knowing that you can experience these type of world-class products for the amount of the welcome bonus on one Sapphire Preferred card, that's a big win. That said, Flying Club also has some other solid options too. For instance, flying from the East Coast to London in economy for as low as 6,000 points, or business class for just 29,000 points. Even from the West Coast, it would only be 9,000 points in economy. Though keep in mind, when it comes to business class, the fees could be quite high, north of $400 or $500 sometimes. Economy is more reasonable, around 100. But where Virgin's Flying Club really shines is when it comes to transfer bonuses, often as high as 30-40% when most other programs are around 20. When you factor that in, the value spikes even higher. I mean, barely over 50,000 Chase points for ANA first, come on. Plus, if you poke around some of their other partner redemptions, you can still find some gems, like flying over to Korea in Korean Air for 85,000 points and really low in fees. So while Virgin Atlantic Flying Club is definitely more niche, it's one that's worth having in your back pocket, especially when you're aiming for those ANA unicorn seats or you don't mind the high surcharges in exchange for some cheap points redemptions. Next up, let's talk about Avios, which is one of the more flexible partners because it's not only British Airways Avios, but the entire Avios family, like Aer Lingus, Qatar, Finnair, Iberia, and more, each having their own sweet spot redemptions that you can take advantage of, given you can transfer Avios points across this family, which is the important part. That means if you first transfer to British Airways Avios, you can then move it to Qatar's Avios and then book their sought-after Q Suites business class to Doha for 70,000 points with relatively low surcharge. Or a sweet spot with Iberia, which used to let you fly in business class to Spain for as low as 34,000 points, but that's no longer true given they bumped it up to just over 40,000, which is still decent for business class, but it's nowhere near some of the world's top products. But now with Finnair, that's where things get a bit more interesting. Not only can you fly to Europe for low 60,000 points in business class, but you can also book domestic, flying Alaska Airlines within US and Canada for as low as 11,000 points or 13,500 to Hawaii, or American Airlines for just a bit more, which gives you that flexibility, especially when cash rates are elevated. And don't forget transfer bonuses. The Avios family typically runs bonuses around 30%, making already good redemptions even better. So for a flexible program that has sweet spots both international and domestic, even if it is a bit harder to understand that full picture across all of these airlines, because I'll admit my experience with Avios is a bit limited, it's still a program you want to keep in your toolkit. Now, speaking of transfer bonuses, one of the best ways to get even more value from your Chase points is by pairing them with another ecosystem like Amex, Bilt, or Capital One, especially when they all transfer into the same core programs, like Avios, Aeroplan, or Flying Blue, all while you could take advantage of bonuses that they might be running across different ecosystems. And to see how to really maximize that strategy, check out this video here and I'll see you over there.